never actually my plan to move to Florida. I didn't actually want to move to Florida. We have family who lived here for quite a while, and we used to come visit them fairly regularly. And we used to come see Disney on the regular, and never did I think, wow, that's the place that I want to live. It always felt like a place that you go to for vacation, that you go and hang out and see family, that you go and enjoy the magic of Disney, but never a place that you're going to move to. And as a matter of fact, we even looked at areas just for fun when we were down here with family and thought, and actually had the conversation and deliberately thought out loud, yeah, that's great for other people, but it's not going to be for us. And then it happened. Things change. We change. People look outside of their normal comfort zone, of their bubble, of what it is that they think that they're going to, definitely do, definitely not do, I'll never. We've sort of changed that way of thinking. I have certainly changed that way of thinking, because saying that I will never, or that's not me, we don't really know. Maybe that's not me today, but maybe that'll be me tomorrow. So let's take a drive and talk about why it is that we moved to Florida. Really dive deep into our journey here, what made sense, why it is that we decided to do this, what makes sense now, and what we're looking forward to in the future. So take a ride along on our Convertible Chronicles. So there wasn't one thing that we woke up and said, hey, let's move to Florida, let's move to Central Florida, let's go live near Disney. There wasn't one moment, there wasn't one thing that triggered it. It was a series of things, and it was maybe a change in mindset also, thinking, I can do this if I really want to, and then it's just a question of, do I want to? So, number one, knowing that when the pandemic hit and I was able to work from home so much, even when I was going into the office and doing pretty much everything remotely, it was a question of, well, now I can travel a bit more and continue to work. So I can go see Disney, I can go see family, I can up and go to places that maybe I didn't think that I could go because I needed to be tied to the office. When that shift started happening, it was a little bit more freeing to think, okay, well, I have my laptop. As long as I have a good connection, I can communicate virtually, and I can make sure that all my work is done. So then doing that a little bit more and realizing that the place that I like to go the most was Disney, and would come down to Florida more often from New York, it just felt like a natural, let's look around and see sort of situation. Not necessarily to even move here. It was more about, let's explore what's out there and what's the big draw. I love watching YouTube creators and influencers and people who did take that plunge and did move and were making full-time content living near Disney. And oh my goodness, I love watching it. And a lot of them moved from other states, came down and decided to just pack it all up and wing it and move to Central Florida without necessarily having a big job lined up or without necessarily having a huge support system. Just saying, you know what, I have decided this is the chance that I want to take, and I'm going to do that. That's so freeing, and I was fully jealous. And watching people do that, I thought, well, it doesn't hurt to look. Other people are doing it, so we're just going to look. So we started coming down here and just looking at different open houses and seeing what the prices were, what the areas were like, what we thought about job opportunities, and just a million different things, and thinking, you know what, maybe this is something that we could think about down the road. This could be like a 5-year plan. This could be something that we, I don't know, maybe we budget for and plan out even closer to retirement. Yeah, right? I'm not anywhere near retirement now, but this was just something that we thought about. And then I remember us sitting there, my husband and I, talking and saying, what if we bought something now and we planned it out to live there later? We could try to see if that is something that's manageable, that we could swing. We can continue to keep our jobs in New York. We'll continue to live in New York. maybe we buy something now in the Central Florida area that we might want to live in later, and right now we'll just rent it out. So that's sort of the mindset that we came from, thinking, I wonder if we can even do that. Can we swing getting a second house, even though we wouldn't have it as our house to go to, right? We're not in a financial position to just nest that way or snowbird that way, where we would spend half the time here and half the time there with 2 mortgages. No. But maybe we would rent it out, so that would pay the mortgage here in Florida, and then we could think about it down the road. So we did that. We said, okay, let's start exploring. So we came down, started looking at open houses, met a realtor who was fantastic. Then she started showing us areas that we hadn't even thought about, because everything on paper and on the internet is great. Everything looks great, everything seems great. So we thought, okay, well, now we need to go there and stay, and we need to touch and feel and spend some time there. So that's what we did, and we came down many times. We came down several times and stayed in different areas to kind of get a feel. And then there was just that aha moment when we thought, you know what, we can do this. Maybe now is the time, especially when the pandemic hit and things, because we started looking before that. But once the pandemic hit and I was working more virtually and real estate was just a little topsy-turvy, we thought maybe now we start actually looking to buy. And that's what we did. We started looking, and it felt like the stars aligned. And that is such a corny thing to say, but it felt like such a really opportune time and such a perfect alignment of everything, where we thought, this is something that we might think about doing. Our realtor showed us this fantastic area. We loved downtown Winter Garden, and a new section of this development came up, and we thought, maybe this is it. And that's what we did. And we knew that we were making the right decision. There was sort of this, oh my goodness, can we make this work? So nervous, so unsure, but just knowing that we were making the right decision regardless, because it felt right, but realistically on paper, and how we were going to pay for it and how we were going to do this logistically and all of that did still feel like a lot. It felt very, very overwhelming. However, we knew that we were making the right decision in our gut. I knew it. I just felt it. And it sounds so corny, but you know what? The thing that I think held us back was making these big decisions feels like something that we really need to just check every box and make sure that we have it all squared away exactly as it should be. And that's real, right? We have to be honest about, don't jump into something that you can't afford or put yourself in a really terrible financial spot. But at the end of the day, when we realized that we could do it, I still for sure felt like, oh my gosh, are we doing the right thing? Are we checking every box? Are we doing it all right? But there was just something so right. It just felt so right. The timing was right. The location was right. The price was right. The neighborhood was so right. We just loved it. We loved the house. We loved the neighborhood. We loved how it just all lined up, and we knew it. So that making that big change, also knowing that it wasn't retirement, and there wasn't like one big life change, right? We were empty nesters. However, we had been empty nesters for a little while. There was no big shift in our jobs. There wasn't one thing, but it was. As soon as we started looking and we knew that it was right, it felt like we're getting pulled here, we're getting drawn here. And I remember speaking to my husband one day, and he doesn't follow his intuition as much as I do, even though he was very excited about it too. But I remember saying to him, do you trust me to do this? Because once we started the ball rolling, it started rolling pretty quick. And then it felt like, oh, wait a minute, I think I need another minute. But that's not really how it works. If you sign a contract for a house, I can't just say, hey, by the way, let's put a stop on this, builder, right? No, it was, hey, we're ready to sell this. Are you ready to buy it? So I remember saying to him, are we good? Do you trust me on this? Are we in this together? And he just looked and he said, you know what? Absolutely. Absolutely. We're doing it. We're ready for the change. We've prepared for it mentally, financially, logistically, all of it. And we could sit here and we could second guess it and we can keep questioning it, or we could take that leap of faith and we can do it. And we did. And that's what we did. And I feel like you're never too old to start something new. It's never too late in life to do something bold, to be courageous and try something new, even if it feels a little uncomfortable. You can do it. And then the second thing that really happened was, aside from the logistics, let's decide to do this, was the emotional part of it. We knew we were ready, right? But the fear, it was a little gripping. There was so much excitement and happiness and just real anticipation in the air, but there was also real fear, and there's no two ways around that. Not knowing which way was up, not knowing if we were going to love it, if we were going to hate it, if we were going to regret it. Even knowing that we weren't moving here right away, it still felt like, oh my goodness, are we doing the right thing? But especially when we moved, right? Buying it was step one. That was the logistical part. Moving here, because we decided that this was going to be our 5-year plan until we actually owned it. And then we decided we're not waiting 5 years, so we came a lot quicker, came a lot sooner. But that fear was palpable, because again, along with the excitement and the rush and the, oh my goodness, we're going to set up a whole new life there and it's going to be great, there was some serious fear. We'd only known New York. I grew up on Long Island. That's where my job was. That's where my husband's family is from. He grew up there. My family was there. It was just like that. We were ingrained in the New York environment and the fast-paced life and the just all of it. And I still love New York, but we knew that it was going to be different here. And we just thought, what does that mean? What does that look like? How will that feel once we're here? How could we ever really know? So fear was real. And then once we decided to actually make the move and put our house up for sale, a house that we had built in New York, we built that house with our own 2 hands. Whew, it felt overwhelming and exciting and all of that, but it was scary. It was absolutely scary. So knowing that we were looking at a completely different lifestyle was one thing, but knowing that we were also leaving behind everything. Our kids were not coming with us. That felt a little like, a little piece of my chest, a little piece of my heart stayed in New York, and always will be in New York as long as my kids are there. And the thing that we realized is that, or the thing that I think that I've come to realize, I don't know that we realized it right away, I certainly didn't, it took me a little while, was that the fear and the excitement and the happiness and the joy, they can live side by side. You can be afraid and still be happy, and kind of have to reconcile those two, because it's not necessarily going away. One of them is not leaving without the other, right? They have to coincide for a little while, at least, side by side. And they did for a long time. I'm not afraid anymore, for sure. And I'm not as excited in an anticipatory way, right? Like, I'm so excited because I'm like, I can't wait. I mean, I'm here now, so I understand what life is like. There isn't that sort of, that new feeling. However, it's like a new feeling in the way that, like, this is my normal. This is my regular. This is just, I get to come out and have these gorgeous blue skies, and we lived in just the best neighborhood, and we have fantastic neighbors, and all of that is just, it's so normal now, right? It's just like our regular. But and so the fear is gone. However, we had to sit in that for a long time. We had to sit in that fear, and that was just so I think understanding and acknowledging and just fully accepting, yeah, we're gonna have fear for a little while I'm adjusting to working completely remotely, while my husband is looking for a new job, while we are setting up our house, meeting new friends, figuring out the neighborhood, figuring out the roads. I mean, I would drive around and be like, oh my goodness, haven't I been here before? I have no idea where I am. I'm just driving around in circles. All of that's going to be real. There's going to be times when we're just like, actually, right now, I think I'm heading in the wrong direction. I thought I was heading in a different direction. But now I have my bearings now, and then I can turn around. Okay. So it's not as scary anymore. It doesn't feel as frightening. And that happens. That happens once you're here for a little while. The fear subsides, and the excitement and sort of the, oh wow, I haven't seen this area before, that kind of takes over a little bit more. So just knowing that if you're going to make any kind of life change in your 50s beyond, there's fear. Live through the fear. Do it afraid. Do it afraid, because you won't be as afraid the more you do it. And then finally, knowing that the reward that you get after you push past that fear, it is so worth it. It's really worth it. We just fully embrace where we live now. I have the absolute best neighbors. We are so fortunate to just live in such a beautiful area, in a beautiful neighborhood, and have great people who live near us. And I've met one of my absolute closest friends in the world living here. And if I need a favor, I can absolutely just reach out to anyone. We all have each other's cell numbers, or we can reach each other on whatever social media messenger app, and we all connect with each other. And hey, can you let my dog out really quickly? I am running late. Or hey, I didn't realize cooking dinner and I don't have that cup of flour. Is there any chance I can grab some from you? It's just such a small, tight-knit little circle of community that it's brilliant. It's beautiful. I love it. We most of us are all from somewhere else, and we come together and we make it work, and it's just so worth it. But you have to be intentional about it. It didn't just happen. It's not oh my goodness, I moved here and everyone just stood there at the gates with their arms open like, oh my goodness, Liz is here. No, I go out of my way to go and make friends with my neighbors and speak to them and try to be as helpful as I can with them, try to offer my assistance to them when they need it, and then in turn, when I need something, they are beyond generous. So being intentional is something that I think we should all do in our life, whether we are starting over somewhere or not, but especially if we're starting over, because we can be whoever we want to be. We can start our whole lives over again and not necessarily give up who we were, but change. We all change, and our past comes with us, but so does our new future. So does our new future, and we absolutely love where we live. I love where we live. I can't imagine now ever going back. I go back to New York all the time. I'm actually going this week, but to visit, not to live there. There's just something absolutely wonderful about being here all the time, even in the summer, even when it's warm, even with the top down, because this is something that I love. I love it here. I love the heat. I love the outdoors. I love driving around in my convertible. And let me tell you, there are some times when things just, it's right. The minute I drove this car with the top down here, and we moved here in the summer. We moved here in July. It was brutal. It was hot. But the minute I drove around with her, with the top down, I just remember thinking, this is it. This is it. This is the place where we're meant to be. It was a sign. And if you believe in signs, listen for them. Look for them. Because they're there. It's just a question of whether or not we want to acknowledge them, or whether we want to admit that they're real or not. And that's okay if you don't believe in them. It's okay. I for sure do. For sure. And I knew it was right when we did it, but I definitely knew it was right the minute I drove her around. And I'm continuing to drive her around 3 years later, so I am so excited to live here. I'm so excited to share my story with everyone, and I'm so excited to hear anyone else's story on their transition, on their starting over journey, no matter what it is. Even if you're not moving, whatever you're starting over, whatever you need support in, whatever you want to create, whatever new future you want to create, let's do it. Let's do it together. I am in my 50s and I fully started over, and there's very, very little that I regret. Very little. There's always going to be a little regret, like, oh, if I had a little more money, Oh, if I had a little more time. Oh, if I had something different. But at the end of the day, if I had it to do all over again, I would do it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. So don't let anything hold you back. Don't let that fear hold you back, because you can live with the fear and the excitement at the same time. Make your best future. Let's do it together. Drop a comment and let me know, what have you done in your 50s or beyond that you thought you would never do, and maybe something that you really want to do, something that maybe you need a little encouragement to do. Drop a comment and let me know.